It was in 1995. I was in Corte Madera in a very small two-bedroom apartment. Any one of you have seen me there? Corte Madera or Corte Madera? Yeah, a very small apartment, so we have two rooms. And it was floor to ceiling, the windows, the sliding window. And it was a very sunny day, very nice sunny day. And I was sitting and contemplating, and the way I sit and contemplate is usually like that, kind of bent towards the left, the fingers are on the third eye area, and the right hand is on the chest, and I was contemplating. It's supposed to be a very big day the next day. For the first time, I was having a radio show the next day. So I was sitting and contemplating, wasn't quite sure. It's like, where am I going with this? It all felt like, I don't know. And I'm sitting, and it's around 10:30 a.m., and all of a sudden, a huge light comes. And I think there must be something wrong with my eyes or something. And I'm looking, and all of a sudden, it's like, really? Huge entity, angelic like, something shaped right in front of me. So it was huge light coming, and it was very sunny. And the wing, it had two wings, huge wings, like the wings were, the ceiling I guess is 8 feet, right? So, like that. And all of a sudden the wings were no longer wings. They were two huge, tall entities next to the big whatever. It was so big that it had to bend. It felt like it. And in field of spirituality, when you start to see things, you will know that sometimes you see, geometric shapes, it has a meaning. Sometimes you see a face, just a face, it has a meaning. Sometimes you see a bust, no hands, it has a meaning. Sometimes you see the bust and the hand, it has a meaning. Like one of those statues in parks, you see, for example, 4 legs of the horse on the ground, the person died in the back, that kind of thing. And this entity is so huge, and I'm looking totally speechless. I'm recalling my feeling. I really don't know what happened exactly, as far as words or what was exchanged. And the entity tells me that cancel the show. Cancel the show. Cancel the show. And instead, work on terminally ill patients. Did I have any choice? Gladly accepted it. I called the station and left a message. I was very embarrassed because they have a program. I was supposed to diagnose and heal on the radio, one of those big things, and become famous and so forth. So I called, and I didn't know what to do. The next day, I started to call the Hospice of Maureen. I called the Hospice of Laguna Niguel in San Francisco. I was asking people, where are hospices? Let me call. I would call, the nurses would pick up. They were excited about my experience and so forth. But nothing came up of it. I said, I don't want money. I won't lay hands on your patients. I'll be invisible. Just let me come. And they didn't. Tuesday, the next day, Monday, I don't know for what reason, without thinking. As many times as I looked, there was no thinking involved. I just went down the stairs. I was on the 2nd floor of the apartment, and I cleared the storage area. I didn't think, why are you doing this? I didn't think, why should I do this? I was just doing it. It's like somebody was guiding my hands and everything. Cleaned it really nicely, put 2 chairs there. And the next day, I'm sitting and again contemplating, and all of a sudden I felt like, open the drawer that we all have, full of paper clips and junk and prejudice and so forth, emptied it and put it back. Juxtaposition. I was feeling great. And as soon as it went back to its position, the bell rang. And there is a 70-year-old lady, huffing and puffing, came up the stairs. would you please come to our house and visit with my partner? I said, what's wrong with your partner? She's downstairs, but she can't come up. I said, okay, I'll come downstairs. So I went, she's sitting in the front, and the lady who rang the bell is sitting there, and I sat in the back. And it was visible, full of tumors on the neck, on these areas. I didn't do much, but most tumors either shrunk or disappeared. Didn't happen to me before. And they left. So I come upstairs, as soon as I want to grab a glass of water, knock. This time no ringing of the bell, there is a knock. I open the door. Very similar story. I said, can your friend go on the first floor? Can she walk a few steps? And she said, yes. So we went to the storage room. And we did a very good healing, identical stories. Tumors shrunk or disappeared. And throughout the day, that's what happened. Throughout the day. It was amazing. Now, at the time, I had really no idea what gay means and what lesbian means. I wasn't anywhere with it, you know. I had no idea, but I'm sure I had some preconceived notions of some prejudice about it. And also because of what Israelis are doing with Palestinians, it rubbed off on me. I had my feelings about Jews. All the people who came here, 3 couples, were lesbians. The rest of them, and those 3 were also Jews. And okay, what's the message here? It was fascinating. Everything happened just because I positioned myself. I positioned myself as a healer. I wore the hat of a healer. I assumed the platform of one. Then the entity came. You know, if any one of you is thinking, okay, as soon as I get my first $100,000, as soon as I get rid of the cancer, I'm going to start healing. It's like you're on the wrong track. You got to position yourself now. You position yourself now. Then things come. I already was a healer. I announced it. And the way I announced it was that I just had home. I had a travel agency in San Francisco in the, what's it called, World Trade Center. I think it's demolished and changed.
Ferry building.
Ferry building, yes. It was a very nice one, actually. Very nice. I did a very good job. It looked really nice. Didn't make much money. And we had a storage room, and in the storage room full of brochures and full of videos, I would see patients. So I was looking forward for somebody to come for me to do healing, not somebody come for me to sell a ticket. And I think one of my students, her name is Mary Ann, she lives in New Jersey. I did my first healing there with her. And I decided, you know what, I'm not being honest with me. So I just closed the business, and I came. And I sat. And the next day, Harry says, so you're not going to work anymore? You're not going to work anymore? How do you pay the rent? You pay the rent. What do you mean you pay the rent? Well, I'm going to do healing. You're doing healing. How did you advertise? How did you? Have you advertised? No. It sounds really irrational, but it isn't, and here is why. You know, when I made the decision, and I hope you get this and take it with you, I was free, 100% free, God is my witness, of all emotions, of all wishes and desires, of all concerns, and hope. Is hope a bad thing? Another thing? It's a very good thing. You know, human beings need hope. They need hope. But when you hope, you don't know, do you? You hope. You want certainty and being sure something is going to happen. You must be free from all this, and it's possible. So I just, you know, I was sure that's where I'm going to go. So I just announced it to the universe. And I sat home, and prior to that, of course, I was doing healing, and people and friends would say, you have to have a business. You have to have a business. And Mary Ellen, our friend and a student, actually prepared me a business card and put some in some local stores and so forth. But I wasn't given the business card. And so, anyways, I asked Master Paladin, should I have a business card? And he looks at me and says, why? I said, thank you. And ever since, I don't have a business card. Yes, we started a blog now, and yes, we have a site, but the site is really for people that come and want more information. Go to the site. It's not the same. I mean, it's a nice site, but it's not very professional. But there is some information. So I did not advertise. I did not send any brochure. When I was coming to Marin County from Embry-Riddle, they told me Marin County is a very rich county. It's probably the richest county in America. And people are redneck. Are they? And they are highly conservative, and there also are hundreds and thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands of people don't live in Marin County anyways. And I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm just me. I come from the heart, I do what I do. What I do, no one else can do. What you do, I can't do. So, I went there, and soon thereafter, people were coming to me and said, how did you hear about me? And I found out through their friends and family members and their patients that they're raving about me. They wanted to see what it is that I'm doing. One of them came and lifted the sheet off of the table and said, you don't have any seawater? I said, why would I have seawater? How do you protect yourself? She said, So, positioning is very important. After working very hard and not meeting the rent by day 28, I was kind of trying not to have any concern. Day 28, rent is due in 2-3 days. There is a grace period that you have to pay that painful $45 because you're late. There's a knock at the door. And I opened the door, and lady, without saying hello, hands me an envelope. And I take the envelope and say, what is this? I said, take it. I said, why? He says, take it. I said, why? Well, I have a sinus problem that I have to do surgery. And I know it's going to cost me approximately $10,000. So here is yours. I said, no, thank you. She says, what do you mean, no, thank you? I said, just pay, the number of visits that you come. So I was working on her, and second, number two, I was trying to create laser beams and all that, and actually I started to smell burn. Something is burning inside the sinuses. And all of a sudden she looks at me and says, are you burning my sinuses? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, your sinuses are going to be good. And she turned her face, and I was so emotional. I had the confirmation. Someone who doesn't know anything about anything, as far as, she just knew she doesn't want to do surgery. A novice at best. Actually saw and felt what I was doing. And I was weeping without noise. Very interesting. And her sinuses were healed in 2 sessions. So she left and came back a few days. Now is day number 2 in the next month. And she hands me an envelope and said, you must take it. I said, unless I know what's in it, I'm not going to take it. And there was $2,000, which covered the rent, plus other things and so forth. And after that, Patty did not ask me how we are going to pay the rent. But, I positioned myself. That's the point, yes, I'm talking about myself. It gives you an idea of whom you're dealing with. But at the same time, I position myself. I'm trying to tell you all the time, position, position, position. Those of you who have had VHS, those tapes, it always shows 12 o'clock, 12. Anytime you try to put the right timing on the VHS, it went off, and it was again 12, 12, 12, just looking at you, 12, 12. And I'm saying positioning, 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 positioning. regardless of what you do, the degree of the degree of success and achievement that you want depends on how you position yourself. Nothing more, nothing less. As soon as there is clarity of intention, you position yourself. Arrows of creation from all directions actually come and meet with you. Now, those people who came to me on that very significant Tuesday, and the person who came for her sinuses, they all saw me work your horse.
I wondered if you were talking about
And thank you for being here.
happy to be
So I have a point of reference. I was really reluctant to go and feed the horse. To me it's like, I'm just starting. I don't know anything from anything. I'm just positioning myself to see what comes, right? With a lot of enthusiasm. Okay, so enthusiasm, when I say I literally mean it, meaning the meaning in Latin, it means the love of God. I had a lot of that, probably a lot more then than I have now. So I went finally, and I worked with her horse. I should call you Miss Doris now, right?
You can call me whatever you want.
So it's a thoroughbred, am I saying it correctly?
Correct.
It's one of those huge horses that is a mixture between the English horse, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Arabian horse.
Yes.
And so when we went to the, when I went to the rest, was it Woodacre? Woodacre?
Nicasio.
Nicasio. Okay. When I went there, and I'm looking at the horse, it's like, probably taller than me. He was looking at me like he's showing the white of the eyes, and don't you come close, I'm going to show you. So I went closer, and she hung up. She hung to the rein of the horse. She was holding the horse, and the horse had a cut here. Did you take him to the Davis for a surgery or something? So he had a bad experience with the whole thing, and there was a tumor.
Quite large.
Quite large.
Yeah.
So I went on the side, and she's comforting the horse. What was the name?
Bob.
Bob. She's
Bob
comforting
Cratchit.
Bob, and all that. And Bob is looking at me and kind of gearing up to give me a nice kick or a nice, head or something. And I started to work, and after 5 minutes, the head fell. And those nice eyelashes were looking at me like this, big eyelashes, and he started to nibble. And then, maybe interesting, he got an erection. That I haven't seen before. and she told me that's a good thing. It's a sign of healing. I said, really? I didn't know that. I just positioned myself to look at it. So just about everybody that came on that Tuesday had a friend of a friend, or actually witnessed the healing or something that happened. And she told me, if I'm not mistaken, that her sinus problems went away or something like that while she was holding on to it. So the focus really of the whole subject, everything that I'm trying to say and make it maybe a little bit more interesting, is position. Now, I was working very hard, so people started to worry about it. And they said, you got to take care of yourself. Healers die young. And it's true. Healers die young. I mean, it was true. It was. So you got to take care of yourself, and very, very grateful ex-Healy. So we don't say patients, we say Healy. Instead of patients or client, we say Healy. Gifted us with 3 days vacation to Cabo San Lucas. And I was hesitant to go anywhere. I just didn't want to go anywhere. I was so enthusiastic in what I was doing, and the changes that I could see around is like something really, really wonderful is happening. Any of those experiences is an experience of a lifetime. And obviously I didn't want money. It was the biggest challenge of my life, to accept money or to take money. But what about the rent? What about the expenses? That kind of thing. So the lady gifted us with a 3-day vacation to Cabo San Lucas. We go there and plane traveled, and I'm grumpy. I really shouldn't come here, and so forth. I have so much work to do. I'm a day worker, if I work I make money, if I don't work I don't make money, just grumpy. And I got a few names of a few patients that I was going to do distant healing while on the plane, closer to God, or in Cabo San Lucas, closer to the nature. So we go there and we go towards the beach, and Patty lies down and said, I'm very tired, I'm going to lie down. And for me, if I go to the beach, I want the waves pound on me. That's how I define relaxation. When they pound on me, I just, enjoy it. I go into the water, I won't come up. I look like prunes when I come up, all soaked in. So I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I notice the waves are very big. So I step back, like 10 feet, very big, I go back again. But they're huge, it's like, whoa, it's coming up. And I thought maybe there's a deep, it recedes, the beach recedes somehow, and that's why the waves are like that. So I'm standing there and kind of, measured, God is with me too, I've done all this good work, I'm a very good healer, strong, standing there, dug my heel in the sand, and stood like this, so the wave doesn't, take me. And the wave came and took me and, sand in my ears, in my bathing suit. I was trying to hold on to my bathing suit, and just rubbed me against the everything. I had the scars. I had everything. I couldn't move, and maybe it was because of my left knee. I think I tore a tendon or something. And it was only my ego that let me get up. I stood up, I turned my face towards the waves, but nothing happened, And Patty saw what happened. So she comes, and she's standing there, like in the doorway, because she saw what happened. She's scared. So, are you okay? I said, of course I'm okay. Oh. Everything was burning, and I was in so much pain. And as she's talking to me, 2 Chinese people come, a couple. And the man is holding a baby, an infant. And it was a sheep because, you could see the ribbon, it was pink, very cute, And they came and next to me, and I'm trying to kind of not fall, and I couldn't stand, I couldn't fall. The pain was horrendous. And they came, and I tried to make an eye contact, say, get away, or step aside, too late. Another wave came, demoralized everybody, as usual, me included. I got up again, and there was no baby. And the wave went like this, went back, and it's like everyone wanted to, the electromagnetic field was huge, humongous, And I look, it's like a football field. Why did it go that? The child, the baby, I was really, really demoralized. I couldn't believe in that few seconds that it happened. Moi, strong healer, God is with me and all that. I'm helping so many people in front of my very eyes. It happened and I couldn't do jack. I couldn't swim, I couldn't run, and plus, what was the use? As I was thinking, the next wave comes and demoralizes everybody, foams everywhere, everybody is tumbling. And the couples died standing. There was no color, lips were shaking, they were drooling, they were like this, they couldn't breathe, they didn't want to breathe. As the next wave comes. And again, the same story, and on its way back, I feel something in my hands. the baby in my hand, I can walk. So I said, get your babies. All of a sudden, color comes, you know, they start to smile, and, you know, they look really miserable though. They come and they get the baby, and they keep on walking backward, and saying things in Chinese, and going backward, and they kept on going for like 100 feet backward, and doing this and all that, and I was like, okay. I positioned myself to get the baby. All this pain, and sometimes positioning is painful. You know, at least judging by what our experience have been, positioning is painful, you know, but it doesn't have to be. You know, it's painful because we don't know any better, because we don't have the basic information. For the rest of 2.5 days remaining, Patty and I hardly spoke. We hardly spoke. She witnessed what happened. She knew what happened, and I knew I'm here to be instrumental of receiving and giving. I receive, giving that, and I give it to everybody. And she knew for the rest of the 2 days she was gathering very exotic fish, you know, some of the fish that they're like bony and thorny, and they have eyes, they look like human beings. They were all at the shore. She would get them and give it to me, and I would try to put them back into the water. All 2.5 days, that's what happened. She knew it's her job now, that she gratefully accepted, to provide me with an environment that I could do the healing. The whole process was about how you position yourself, even though sometimes reluctantly, but you do position yourself. You know, you're doing badly physically, emotionally, you position yourself to get healed. You don't wait and hope. That's dumb, excuse me. You're hoping, then you don't know. Then it's not gonna happen. And it happens, it's so much pain, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, it wasn't worth it. That brings me to one of my axioms. So you're clear about positioning? Yes? Okay. So I position yourself to come to your ranch. Position myself to work on the horse, and then the whole thing happened, which positioned me to be on the receiving end of that magnificent entity that visited me. Anybody wants any break? No? Okay, Mary, can I have some water, please? This morning we had a teleseminar. Seminar? Instant seminar. And for the first time I had somebody next to me, that young man over there.
Thank you.
And I think this is going better than the morning, huh? What do you say? Thank you. We're going to wait for Kirk, so if you have any questions or if you want to do anything, there are 2 more bathrooms down the hall if you wanted to use. Thank you very much for coming, greatly appreciate it. Very happy to see you. I saw you when you were 12 or 13. Very, very nice to see you. Come back fast. Don't go very far. Can you say that one, please?
Like, I asked for something, and
So you asked for something?
I've, wanted something, and I thought I'm prepared to receive it, and for whatever reason, it has come, but I have not been there to receive it. And then I'm like, how could I do that? So, can you talk about that? What happens, why it happens, and how can I do better next time? Or is there a way to, when that happens, instantly, what is the right thing to do?
If I don't answer you right now, I'll answer you later.
Okay, that's fine.
But let's just cover up a few things since
course.
everybody's here. So we're waiting for 2 more people, yes.
So you keep saying position yourself, I understand that, but in order to position yourself, don't you have to know where to position yourself? don't you have to have the knowledge or knowing or feeling of it?
Actually, that's the catch. People think that and they never position themselves. My experience, that's the catch. Too much and too many feasibility studies to start a business. You know, then the universe said, do you want to open the darn business or you don't want to? I mean, these feasibility studies make me confused. Do you want to start, you know, the business? Go start it. Don't talk to me about money, because it's not going to happen. Don't talk to me about, oh, I have a child, I have a certain. None of my business. The universe said, do you want this or you don't want it? So then the clarity of intention is not totally there, and we justify it for money or anything else, then it's not going to happen. And if it happens, it's shaky, shady. Then a few years later, I wish I would not have done. So during the meditation, especially a few minutes into your meditation, there are moments of clarity. And let's talk about meditation a little bit, since the subject came. You know, people say, I'm going to meditate on a given topic. So they sit and they actually think about it. And that's a no. Again, you're engaging your analytical mind. Again, you're engaging what you have experienced in your life. You're bringing it into your meditation. Again, the universe is not, you're not opening up for the universe. You're not opening up for the universe. The messages are tarnished at best. So first rule in Shafa, you always title your meditation, but you never think about it. So meditation is, give me a title.
Health, could it be?
Sure. So health, and then you start to meditate, however you meditate. You know, we do our own meditations here, but meditation, you do your own meditation. Then you say health, and then your heart comes to mind, just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just stay. The title is not for you, it's for the universe. The title is not for you. It's absolutely for the universe. The universe must see the clarity. The universe is providing you the information for the title. But are you getting it, or are you busy engaging, analyzing? What are you doing? See, this is what happens. You know, when we are meditating, all sorts of nice, sparkly stuff happens around the head area. Let's say just the head. All sorts of nice things, All sorts of information are coming, and you may not be even aware of the information, what it is, And as soon as there is a spark, and you hang on to that spark, try to think what it is. There is a line. There is a line that is like this. It's like the upper part is cut off. Information comes, but there is no receiver here or here. The information that you want is coming to you during meditation. So, amongst all the sages throughout the history, the one that I know, amongst all the gurus, only one person did the meditation the right way. He is the great inventor, Con Edison. Fascinating. He came up with, thousands of discoveries and hundreds of inventions, but very repeatedly actually, he would come to a point that he didn't know where to go from here. What to do? What element am I going to add? So I make this invention, this discovery of work. So what he did was he would take marbles, he would put a bucket. I can imagine those days they were in plastic buckets, metal bucket, and he would sit with the buckets with the marbles in his hands, and the bucket was there, and he would go to meditation. And at some point, a marble would fall into the bucket and make a sound, and he would open his eyes and he would write. He didn't know what he's writing. He would write, and the information was exactly what he wanted. If you continue with the meditation, the information probably would have been lost. You would still think and think maybe at some day the information that came would manifest in some shape and form and you would get it, but it wouldn't be instantaneous. We actually get our information instantaneously. There is no two ways about it. We do get it. Except that if you are going through grief, if you are going through pain, if you are going through any of these things, you don't see it. It's like you want to park, you are in a rush to park, you just rush and circle. Why? There is no parking. As soon as you go there, somebody pulls up. You want to come back, somebody goes. And it's like, there's no parking space. Why is it there? It's here. It is. Just slow down. Receive the information. If you're too busy analyzing, prioritizing, categorizing, it's not going to happen. And if it does, it's a lot of pain. It's not going to happen. So meditate with the title. The title is not for you, though you know it's for you. It's for the universe to understand what you want. The universe emits all its power. The power is beyond all our imagination. It's not very smart. I'm sorry to say. The universe to me is not God. The universe is not very smart. It actually literally behaves based on what you think, how you position yourself. That's all. So if there is any lack of clarity anywhere, then it doesn't understand. It will figure it out sometime. It may not be this lifetime. It will definitely happen though. At some day, maybe 10 lifetimes from now, for those of you who believe in reincarnation, it will manifest. And you may say it's karma, and I say, no, that's something you wanted 10 lifetimes ago. So there's a difference between karma and what is going to happen. All right. So, what was I saying? Position. Okay. I want you to see how you meditate first, then we move on to different things. That's why you meditate. That's Shafar meditation. That's Hillary and I.
Oh.
And Bob.
Darn.
1995.
Wow.
Excuse me.
Bob has passed, but Bob was, I think, 17 when Beirut worked on him. So his tumor completely disappeared and his sinus infection cleared, and we ended up finding a wonderful pasture where it was a therapeutic horse. He'd been a racehorse for 9 years, which is unheard of, and then became a Grand Prix jumper after that. And I was lucky enough to get him for a student. I only had him for a couple of years before he injured himself to the point where he couldn't jump. So a veterinarian found this home for him, and he walked around with handicapped children for several years and lived as a horse on 200 acres the rest of his life until he passed.
Wow. And when did he pass?
I think he was 25.
Wow.
So
And what year?
it must have been, if that was 95 and he was 17.
Age
So, yeah.
2003.
Yeah.
After the invasion. I brought it on purpose. I'm saying it on purpose. I'm not meaning to be funny. I'm waiting for a person who's gone to the bathroom to come. And meanwhile, I'm going to show you another picture. The young man that you see here, I don't know if you can see, sorry, his name was Ben Underwood. He passed. So his name was Ben Underwood. He passed. This is a class that I held in one of the local hotels, and it's the second year's class of some kind. So you weren't here. I was showing this picture. I don't know if you can see. Can you see that?
I see 3 people.
Yes. So one of them is me, and the rest aren't me. I'm here. I don't know if you can see. And there is a young man in the middle with his mom. So the significance of inviting him and his mom to one of my classes was to highlight the fact that we can use our senses interchangeably. You know, going back to my experience at the UCSF hospital. This young man, I think at the age of 2, came down with cancer of the sinus. And so the sinus spread and they had to remove his eyes. And then he started to be very needy towards his mom. Which at that point, the mom taught him a few good lessons, an incredible mother. And the mom actually bought him a bicycle. So do you want to ride the bicycle? And he says, yes. He said, if you ride your bicycle and come home crying, I will kick you out of this house. Do you want to ride the bicycle? And he says, yes. So he was riding the bicycle, and soon thereafter, all the neighborhood kids were riding with him. So 5, 6 kids on a bicycle. And he was the driver. He was riding the bicycle. He was the eyes of all those kids. And, you know, we test drove and we said, okay, tell us how many people are here and who's where and what is the shape. Do you remember that, Alma?
Yeah.
And, you know, he could tell you if the column there is rectangular or circular or round. He could tell if that's a normal car, sedan car, or a pickup truck. He could, as he was going, he could tell you if there is a garbage can. You know, he could tell me how height I was, my height. He could tell, in some cases I heard, that he could tell you, you know, even the color of your eyes. But we did not witness that. And, you know, so the way he said it was that, you know, he sends signals and the signals come back and that's how he knows. And he actually was producing a sound, which I can't repeat, but he was doing it and he would say like a bat, you know, he would send signals like radar and they know where to go. But I didn't think that. You know, I did not say anything either. I did not think that he's like a bat. I did not think that, you know, he's doing some really extraordinary thing. I just thought he knew. And he can use that sense interchangeably. You know, maybe he needs an anchor with sound to make that happen. And anyway, so we invited him to the class, and him and his mom came. It was a very emotional class, very nice class. And you know, we decided that, you know, we offer complimentary sessions till he heals. And anytime I called him, he was really angry with me. He said, "Are you not ready, Ben?" And he said, "No, I was playing or I was doing something. Do you want me to call you some other time?" "Well, I don't know. Maybe my mom will call you." So, you know, after twice, that's how I operate. I realize I respect people's process, but I'm not there. I'm not going to crucify myself. I'm not a martyr. And the time that I spend and prepare the person doesn't want it can be addressed to someone else that wants it. And he passed. But he always thought that he's going to heal. You know? And he was saying that I'm going to heal through Jesus. Nothing wrong with it. Except that, how?
What do you mean healing? Start seeing?
Actually, cancer gone. Basically, that was the intention. For the cancer to be gone so we could live. But he had no physical eyes. Later on, they removed part of his nose and the olfactory areas, and he had false eyes when he came. So wishing and desiring and hoping that God is with me is not going to do it. You know, belief is nice, but beliefs change all the time. In Shafa, we do not believe. We try to know. It's very, very different. We try to know. Sometimes the process is very painful in the sense that reds all the time. Repetition, enthusiasm, all the time. You know, starting in the morning. Shafa students have agreed with me that life is 24/7 meditation, which basically means you don't have to sit, you know, all the time and do that. You know, every aspect of life becomes meditation. Even going to the bathroom is meditation. Anytime I go to the bathroom, I actually say, I think in English, so I say thank you for the ability to let go. It could be a joyous process too. It's meditation. Every aspect of life, eating, you know, talking like this is meditation. So if we position ourselves that way, to accept 24/7 meditation, then information keeps on coming. You know, you don't have to go to gurus and healers all the time. Information comes. You do have the receptor. Like information is coming through the door, but you don't see it because the door is closed. Open it up. It has nothing to do with, you know, my father being a saint or I being a saint. It has nothing to do with, look at me, the regular guy. I'm doing really incredible things, but I'm a regular guy. That you can have a beer. You know? And if I can do it, you can do it too. You know, that's really the whole message. It has nothing to do with, you know, all my life people said I'm very kind and trying to help people. Oh, okay. That doesn't mean that you can heal and do these really, some of these very miraculous healings. I'm trying to see if there is any other image I'm going to show you. I don't know how much time we have here. But I want to show you this image here. It's an aura image. We have an aura machine here that, you know, sometimes we work and then we ask the person to see his or her aura before and after. But this image was taken, I think, in 2003. Excuse me a second. So I'm going to go clockwise. Do you see the image? It's almost identical, isn't it? Auras of two people. Identical, almost identical. You know, if I were to look at it, it's probably 98% identical. Her name is Christine Dorothy, and we have her testimonial on the website. I went to Guy Coggins. Guy Coggins is the inventor of this camera, the Aura camera. And he wanted me to work, and he wanted to film me while I'm working and to see before and after, you know, what happened. So I worked on her. Christine had the cancer of the tongue. And I think it was on a Saturday, probably August 17th or something. August 17th to be very significant in my life somehow. And on Sunday I had a seminar in 2003. And she came here, I worked on her, and she said what she had to say, and we took the video shots and everything. And I keep on working on different people, and then there are questions, and then seeing the aura, the actual, you know, what happened, the change of the aura, you know. And she's not going. So finally I look, I said, can I do something more for you? You seem to be standing there. And she, in a very shy manner, said, I'm very sorry, your car is in front of my car.
What is it?
And your car is blocking my car, I can't go. I said, oh, I'm sorry. And before she went, Guy Coggins, the inventor of the camera, said, can I take a still picture of you? And you, Master Donos. I said, fine. You know, so we sat there and we took still pictures. This is actually 3 hours after I worked on it. She adopted my aura. 3 hours later, it's almost 98% identical. 3 hours later. And you know, she went They did all sorts of tests, there was no cancer. So without any Western intervention, the cancer was gone. And yes, I did a very good job, so. But at the same time, she did it. She maintained that, she adopted the aura. She held on to it. It wasn't that she believed in me, it was right and right. She knew. See, no Western intervention at all whatsoever.
Shouldn't her aura be like idiosyncratic of her? You know, like not like yours?
I did not understand the question.
When I look at somebody, I see the manifestation of them as being different for each person.
Yes.
And it's surprising to me to see an individual manifest an aura that matches that of another person.
And so basically, you're surprised that she held on to the aura?
I thought you said she had matched your aura.
She matched and she held on, yes. So once her vibrations raised to my level, she kept it. And that's not easy. But she wanted to hold on to the aura. Where she wasn't a good place.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I hand you a sandwich and you eat it, and you have sandwich, I have sandwich inside me, and the same sandwich is inside you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's nurturing, replenishing, and so forth. So people do that, and the ones that actually heal, like her, and it was really, really very fast and instantaneous, are the ones that realize that. Their ego doesn't say, why should I hold on to his aura? I'm a very unique individual. Well, you are a unique individual, so what? Like I'm a very unique individual, I'm not going to get the shot.
You're not gonna get what?
I'm not going to get any Western treatment. I'm a very unique individual. It's just, the same analogy applies. You get the shot, you heal. Hopefully, right? Okay. One other, or actually two other images I would like to share with you. One is the image of Grandmaster Padrande, my mentor's granddaughter. When she came to our small apartment in Porto Madero. So I have a lot of memories from that area. Let's see if I could. And I was looking at her in admiration because she carries so much of her grandfather. And she's a grown-up woman now, she's 20 some odd years. This is around 1995 again or something like that. But can you see the, and I'm going to turn this. Can you see the white in here? This is actually my aura. I'm sending image. That's how it appeared. That's how it appeared on the photo. Regular camera. Regular camera can see it. Why can't you? Maybe you haven't thought about it. Okay. Here is another one. Here is my nephew's wife. Her lovely name is Nazak. We are in the park here at Stanford Park in Novato. And I called her and I sent her an energy and I took a picture and it came up.
What do you mean you called her?
I have called her Nazak and she turned.
I see.
So again, is seeing aura really a significant thing? Yes, no, I would not necessarily emphasize on seeing aura and all that because it's very distracting, especially in the beginning. Let's say, you have kind of pistachio green aura and all that, and then if you start to see auras, everybody's aura is pistachio green. And for a long time it's like, why everybody's aura is pistachio green? You've seen through the filtration of your aura. And until you get adjusted to it, it's like having one of those stuff in your eyes and, you can't see well, then you adjust to it, then you see around and about. So seeing aura is very helpful. If you see a person, there's a dark thing there and it looks this way and that way, helpful. If you don't see it, then you have to position yourself so you receive the information to know what to do with it. But initially, it can be extremely, extremely interesting, and as much very confusing and distracting. Okay? I don't think I can show you any other picture here, so. Let's see. We are almost towards the end of our gathering here, but I want to share a few things with you. It just shows where I am. You don't have to accept, leave, comply, or anything. See, one of the axioms that I want to share with you is that anything you try to change persists. So since your infancy, you've been changing and you're persisting. Right? So anything you try to change persists. And that's true with cancerous tumor, that's true with your finances. You want to forcefully change it, it's going to be that way. The conditions seemingly shift and change, you know, it's like watching a black and white movie done in 1960s. Then we have 3Ds and all the special effects. Same story though. It's the same story in 2012. Same story. So condition really hasn't changed. It doesn't change. It persists. It appears different. You know, it's true with cancer, it's true with your finances. Anything you try to change persists. So what do? We create a reality opposite to what is. So this is the axiom that most of my students or Shafa students have had a very tough time with it. You know, we just, but we're changing, and again I have to explain, and again they go back to this, you know. So instead of changing, we shift. You know, it's like, would you wear your shoes when you were 2 years old? Would you wear it down? I mean, can you wear it down? It doesn't work, it's the same thing. You know, would you say, I'm gonna go to Costco only if there's a reserved parking for me there? If there is no reserved parking, I'm not gonna go there. Go there, position yourself, the car is gonna pull up and you're gonna pull in, and you're gonna go to Costco and spend, you know, buy a lot of things you don't need. Just go. So in Shafa there is a difference between soul and spirit. So as I talk, I want you to know that soul is spirit plus experience. So we all have souls now, but we don't have spirits. Metaphorically. Why? Because the spirit has gained experiences, right? And that leads me to something that has helped me every day. It is helping me every day, and I'm going to share it with you. It's an axiom that I came to know about, and it's called the axiom of first agreement. The axiom of first agreement. Okay. So what is it? You know, imagine it's the beginning of time, and time was just created, and all of the intelligences in here, and the ones that you have ever seen, maybe going the opposite direction, 70 miles an hour on the highway, and the ones that you haven't seen, and you are not going to see. All these intelligences, you know, instead of calling soul or a spirit, I say intelligence. All these intelligences collectively came to an agreement. You know, let's say metaphorically we all said, you know what, let's all agree not to know everything. It's boring, very boring. You know, that's why they call us static, you know. You don't have to know. I know everything there is to know, so why would I need it? I don't need anything to eat, drink, or anything. Why would I need it? Why would I do anything? So let's agree, it's an agreement. So we shook hands collectively at the same time. We all agreed. So it's axiom 27, remember that. We all agreed not to know everything. And each agreement raised something. As soon as we agreed, we got heavy and we descended. From knowing to being. From knowing to being. In being, it's impossible for you to know everything. Nobody can claim that. I mean, you can claim it, it's impossible. You can't possibly know everything. But It is very interesting and a lot of incentive here. You can know anything you want to know. Anything, but you must be in being to reach out and know. The information actually gets downloaded, beep, beep, and you have the information. So I was doing that, and people would ask me, how do you know I'm a good liar? Oh, I read it in paper the other day. I read it in the book. Somebody told me. Because they wouldn't believe me if I told them. I had to come up with some reference. It's different nowadays. I just, I don't know. It's very interesting. So you can actually reach out and know, but you got to be there. So if Mr. Ego says you are there, so reach out. Now, how come I don't know? Well, you're not there. That's why you don't know. You know, you're not connecting physically to love source. That's why you don't know. The information keeps on coming. You're not deciphering. So the axiom of first agreement is that we all collectively agreed not to know everything. We descended from knowing to being. And as soon as you're in being, what do? You do. You do things. And as soon as you do things, you have things. And as soon as you have things, you want to have more of it. Why? Precious money. Money, you want to have more money. If you're healthy, you want to be more healthy. You want to just have more health around you. And here is the catch. If you have disease, you want to have more disease. It's the basic human psychology. Even though we say, no, I want to be healthy, I'm doing everything possible. Anything and everything possible for my health. But in some level, you want to have it, you have it. See, once you have it, it's difficult to unhave it. That's the basic human psychology. That helps me every day with the idea of justice. See, I could go crazy with that idea. It's just the holy game. Wherever you position yourself, you are going to encounter the forces of that field. That's what's going to happen. If I go and play soccer or football, and I break a leg, I can't say, God, why me? You start the game. You went to the game. You position yourself to play the game. Why? That's nothing to do with me. I provided you with all the tools, including your fingers and feet and eyes, to play the game. It has nothing to do with me, God says. It depends on how you position yourself. And for us to play the game, we shouldn't know initially what the score is going to be, or we're not going to play. See, every day I remind myself of that, and that takes care of the idea of justice for me. Where is justice? And you know, what happened to Hitler? He died, so what? Even if they made him in pieces, would that be justice? You know, close to 70 million people died in the Second War. He caused it. Where is the justice in it? Who can justify it? You know, George Bush, for no reason, goes to Iraq and does what he does. Children in Iraq are being born with no internal organs, with 3 hands, no fingers, with an eye in here. And 10 days ago, he had a commencement speech in a university. Treated like a hero, a war criminal. And I'm not going to apologize if you are a Republican. A war criminal. Where is justice in it? See, I'm firing up again. First agreement. Okay, it's just a game, but painful game. And we allow it. We all have a share in it. We all are guilty of allowing that to happen. Yes.
On that note, because this is something I'm sure it's come across all our minds, Hitler, there's so many others we can talk about, Stalin goes on, Idi Amin, whatever. Did we, the collective, create Hitler, and did he choose to come in to show us how not to be? Was this part of our own, as we're all one?
It's a very nice way of looking at things.
I don't know, I'm
but
just,
no.
no, I can't, I'm having difficulty with that one.
Yeah, but no.
How do
no.
you see it?
Well, the way I see it is that we allowed it.
We absolutely.
Yeah.
But we collectively had a part in it by allowing it.
Well, you know, what happened in Iraq, what's happening in Iraq and
Yes,
Afghanistan,
yes,
all these places
yes.
in Africa and so
Yeah.
forth. You know, when we decide not to see,
Yeah,
we are more guilty than the ones that are pulling the
absolutely,
triggers.
yeah.
You know? So you position yourself to send a darn email. What's the big deal with a darn email? Somebody's going to get upset. So who cares? You know, put the energy out there. just express yourself, position yourself to be a peace advocate. And speaking of peace, every other Wednesday we have a peace meditation. Please join us. Strengthen the number of attendees. Really, when we collectively attend to a process, it actually becomes very fruitful. Okay. So the first agreement is really what has saved me throughout the years, because I can be a very good healer and I can be a very good fighter. It just depends on how I look at things, where I position myself. I could be the most fierce fighter in the universe, and I could be the most loving person in the universe. It just depends on where you position yourself. Okay, time is out, but I want to leave you probably with something that you may think as weird. It's about creation and how creation happened. Universe. U-N-I-dash-verse. Verse means a song. So, was it the Big Bang or just the heavenly tune? Now, I don't know who created the tune, but whomever it is that created the tune, all of a sudden we have all these phenomena. In one of my meditations, and the way I, start bringing information is like this. And that's the basis of Shafa Harkat, is a movement, a series of movements like Tai Chi or Qigong that we created, but we haven't been attending to it for the past few years. But the basis starts like this, you rub the back of your hands in front of the heart point, and then you go up, and then it's like a heart shape. And as soon as I reach here, information comes. It's like a rainbow of information, It's like an accordion. I have the information. I have a lot of information. My hand is really tired. It's like I'm holding 20, 30 pounds now. Somehow I have to process that and disseminate the information. So in one of those incidences, I came to know there are three Earth. So there are two of me sitting here, and there are two of you looking at me here, with a degree of a difference. And at some point I came to know me, myself, my higher self is really all me, but in different places. And we are in communication. Okay, so it's like what I don't understand at all, don't have any concept, gave birth to nothing initially. And what is nothing? Nothingness is not a void, is not a whole. Is nothing. Is the stuff from which the universe is made. Is the fiber of all creation. Is the field of all potentialities, possibilities, consciousness, awareness. Is nothing. So there are times that you feel nothing. It may be a very good thing. You may be positioning yourself to really give birth to a new setting or lots of new settings and conditions. It may be a good thing. Why don't I feel like doing anything? It may be a good thing. Hold on. You may not necessarily depressed. It actually may be a good thing, And then converse with you to others. Converse. Information comes. So at this point, it's like there are three Earths, and you can be in communication like I am. And it's good to know. All right? And so there are tiers. There is tier 0, which that field, whatever it is, we call it God, gave birth to nothing, and nothing gave birth to universe or gave birth to Big Bang. And then we have a female supreme consciousness. Female, gender. Well, the act of creation is female. Giving birth is female. That's what I'm saying. That female supreme consciousness gave birth to 3 other supreme consciousnesses. Okay, so there are different layers, and I can show you the chart, or at least partially. There are different Earth, different layers. So in here is the 3 female supreme consciousnesses. In here is nothing. In here is something that created nothing. I have no idea. Okay, in here. So technically, when we cross over and we are yearning for God or whatever, we are not going to go there. It's impossible. Have I lost you? Okay. So there is some actual practical anchoring in our healing process. Life is a healing process. We don't have to necessarily just focus on work and heal cancer. Every aspect of life is healing. This information actually becomes very useful. I'm not asking you to believe again. I'm not asking you to accept. I'm asking you to please be a Chinese student. You know, have the information. See if it works for you. Anything that I give, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, drop it. But please stop believing anything I say, or if you already do, or if you don't. That's not what I want. I want you to try to see if it works for you. If it works, then you're good. So there is no return to the primary supreme consciousness, and the yearning of Rumi henceforth is understood by me. Well, I don't know, I could go on like this. Remember about the idea of dissension from knowing to being to having, that we do and have. And that's also the essence of why people don't want to heal. Exceptions aside, people don't want to heal. As healers, you must know that. And I did not have the courage to talk about it. People actually told me they don't want to heal. They said, oh, okay, that's a case to study, all right. I have plenty of it. People actually don't want to heal. They want to get better. They don't want to heal. So what do we do? What am I supposed to do? You know, I'm a healer. Well, my job is to provide a healing environment that the individual wants to heal. You know, on a daily basis, we work with people who are in coma in different continents, and we have very, very good success rate. The person doesn't know me, I don't know the person. The family, they just heard something, you know. But the person comes out of the coma. Maybe later on dies of a heart attack, I don't know. But comes out of the coma. We're very good at it. Mary is also very good at it. And, but people who come here and have questions, and you know, anything I say gets vetoed by a physician fresh from the medical school, then healing is a challenge. You know, this is truly a humongous challenge. And what do I do with that? Well, patience is the biggest virtue of a healer, and I have plenty of it. Patience. On that note, thank you for your patience.